Hey everybody, and welcome back to our official Flex Perpetuals YouTube channel, the go-to perpetuals exchange on the base chain. Today we're going to be diving into the upcoming FLP Surge and the massive incentives that are available for early liquidity providers. Before we jump in though, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss any Flex Alpha. So the time has come, folks. FLP Surge marks the final step before our official launch and offers a huge opportunity to maximize your returns in this ecosystem with the early liquidity incentives and industry-leading APRs that you can receive on our blue chip index token FLP. So the countdown really does begin today. Our FLP Surge will be starting on February the 11th. So if you are interested, please continue watching this and you will learn everything that you need to know about FLP itself and specifically the FLP Surge event starting on February 11th. So FLP isn't just another liquidity pool, it's really the powerhouse or the engine that drives Flex Perpetuals. And the FLP liquidity pool acts as the counterparty to leveraged traders on the Flex Perpetuals platform. And what that means is the FLP earns yield whether traders win or lose. And so the more traders that are using the platform, the more volume that they're putting through the platform, the more fees they pay and generate, and therefore that's how FLP stakers win. More trading equals more volume equals more revenue for FLP stakers to get a share of. And the FLP token itself is a blue chip index token, and it's been designed for long-term stability and sustainable yield. And we've carefully allocated assets into this blue chip index token to maintain optimal risk management while at the same time maximizing returns and maximizing the bull market. So this is how it looks at the moment. We have set target allocations for the three assets that the index token is made up of. And as you can see in the slide here, you've got 40% in USDC, 40% in wrapped Bitcoin, and 20% in ETH. So this offers a balanced but diversified portfolio of blue chip assets. And currently, as you can see, it's weighted for 80% is our volatile tokens, 60% are volatile tokens, the wrapped Bitcoin and ETH, meaning it maximizes the bull market that we have ahead. We have the flexibility that we can change the target allocation. So for example, when we are in a bear market, we can increase the stable allocation to reduce the volatility of the price of our FLP token itself. And over time, these allocations will naturally the weight of each of these individual assets inside of the index token will naturally fluctuate based on the price of the assets and also based on what's happening with traders on the platform. And so periodically we will rebalance the pool in order to achieve those target allocations. So that's the token itself. And then because FLP is the counterparty to traders on the platform, we have implemented 7 key advanced risk management mechanisms that help protect FLP liquidity providers against excessive volatility in direct relation to the traders on the platform. And so now that we know what the FLP token is, let's have a look at how that might translate into yield for you as someone that's staking FLP on the Flex Perpetuals platform. So the first thing to emphasize is that this is real yield. And what I mean by that is this is actually real revenue that the platform is making, and that revenue is then distributed to various different parts of the ecosystem, FLP being the biggest benefactor of the revenue share. It gets 45% of the overall revenue that Flex Perpetuals makes. 45% of that is then distributed to all FLP stakers. And so in the graph on the right hand side where you see volume and fees, you can see that as volume increases, fees do so as well. And so the more volume that the platform receives, the better the fees, and then ultimately that leads to higher yield for FLP stakers. And I know that people are going to ask me what kind of APRs can we potentially expect inside of the FLP staking pool. And I will emphasize that these numbers that I'm about to go through are absolutely projections, they're models, rather than it being reality at this stage, because it is real yield. So it's based on the amount of volume that's going through the platform and also the amount of TVL that's in the FLP pools. So what we've done is we've modeled this out based on some different weekly volume targets, just to give people an indication. You can see here that the APR ranges from 44% here up to 140% here. So there's quite a lot of variety there, depending on how much volume is coming through the platform. So you've got 100 million weekly volume. And what I've done just to keep things simple is kept the FLP TVL the same. So 100 million volume with 2.5 million TVL, 24% APR in revenue. And then you're also getting these esFDX rewards when you're staked in FLP. And when you combine these two together, that works out to be 44.3%. And if we scale that volume up to 250 million in a week, that increases the APR to 80%. If you scale that to 500 million, it increases it to 140%. So you can see here the impact that weekly volume will have on APRs. And again, just to emphasize that these numbers are calculations and projections, or they're modeled. These are not guarantees. And if the TVL is higher than 2.5 million, that would bring the APR down. Hopefully that all makes sense. So the key thing to take away from this slide here is that FLP is getting 45% of the revenue. You, as an FLP staker, you get that here in this column here, the revenue share. And then on top of that, there are esFDX bonuses. And together, combined, the revenue share and the esFDX gives you your total APRs. And that you will be able to see on the website what the real APRs are once we're up and running and we have that volume coming through. So, next up, let's just have a quick look at the fees involved in staking FLP. So when you deposit, there is no flat fee. There's no flat fee tax for depositing into FLP. However, there is a dynamic tax. And the way that this works is it's based on the weighting of the assets inside of the index. So what the dynamic tax is intended to do is to incentivize people to help to rebalance and move towards the target allocation. So if, for example, wrapped Bitcoin is currently at a 35% allocation inside of the index, and the goal is to have it at 40%, if you deposit wrapped Bitcoin, the dynamic tax will be lower or zero, because you're being incentivized to rebalance this pool essentially. Whereas if you were in that situation, if you were to deposit USDC or ETH, then you would pay the dynamic tax. And that dynamic tax ranges from 0 to 0.5%. And then on the withdrawal side of things, there's a flat withdrawal of 0.3%. And then a dynamic tax works when you're withdrawing assets as well. So if wrap Bitcoin was at 45% and you wanted to withdraw Bitcoin, the dynamic tax would be probably nearer 0 because you're helping to bring that back down to the target 40%. So hopefully that makes sense in terms of how those fees work. And on the UI, on the application, when you enter what you're depositing or what you're withdrawing, the site will show you exactly what that tax is, and it allows you to play around. If you've got flexibility in what you can deposit, you can choose the asset that's going to give you the best outcome. And so everything that we've talked about so far is just in relation to standard FLP staking, which you can do at any time. Once the platform is live, people can enter and exit FLP as they choose. However, in order to bootstrap the liquidity in the beginning, because remember, this liquidity is the powerhouse that drives the ecosystem, we're doing what we call the FLP Surge event, where essentially, if you deposit in the Surge, you will get these additional esFDX bonus allocation, and they are significant. So the way this works is there are 5 different tiers, and the sooner that or the earlier that you deposit, the bigger bonus you will be eligible for. So for example, if you deposit in tier 1, which is the first 500,000 that's deposited, that group shares 70,000 esFDX. Between 500,000 and 1 million, it's going to be 60,000 esFDX, and so on and so forth. So the longer you wait, the smaller, although these are still excellent bonuses, it's not in the same, it doesn't have the same multiplier effect as it does up here in T1. So you're absolutely incentivized to try and get in to this as early as possible. And what does this look like in kind of return on investment, if you like? So you've got everything that we've already talked about in terms of the revenue share and the esFDX rewards that you get as standard as an FLP staker. But in the Surge, if you deposit, let's say using this example here, $10,000 into the Surge, you would then, your share of this 70,000 works out at 116, just under 117 esFDX every month. And you get that for 12 months, provided you stay in the pool. So that would be a total of 1,392 esFDX over the course of a year. And at the price of esFDX at launch is going to be $5. So that's just under $7,000. So that's a 70%. That's 70% of your original $10,000 before you even take into consideration the standard revenue share, etc. So this is a huge bonus that incentivizes you to get in early if this type of pool is something that you think sounds as if it's aligns with your strategy in DeFi. One last thing I'll say on this is that we're going to be doing a whale incentive here as well. So if you have $50,000 that you want to contribute to the FLP Surge, you will get an extra 5% on top of your allocation. And if you've got over $100,000, you'll get an extra 15%. So if you are a whale in the space, or perhaps you work for a protocol or a project, then this might be a good, well-diversified way to store treasury assets. So once you get those esFDX bonuses, then it doesn't just stop there. You can then stake that esFDX, and you can continue to essentially compound your position, which will grow your earning power over time. So the esFDX bonuses that you get from the Surge and also from the standard FLP staking can then be staked further for more revenue share and more esFDX, essentially creating your own flywheel inside of the Flex Perpetuals ecosystem. And so in relation to the FLP Surge itself, because we're giving these huge incentives to take part in the FLP Surge, you will be locked for 1 month. Okay, so standard FLP staking has no time lock. But if you get involved in the Surge where you're getting those big bonuses for being involved, then you will be locked for 1 month. After that 1 month passes, you're welcome to leave to exit the position. However, if you do so, if you withdraw early, so essentially within the first 12 months, then you will lose your claim to future esFDX bonus rewards. So you can't just deposit and then after month 1 remove your liquidity and then expect to get esFDX for a full 12 months. You have to stay in the pool to get the full 12-month esFDX bonus. And if you leave, what happens is your share will be redistributed between everyone that remains. So the likelihood is some people will leave, maybe for unforeseen reasons, they need the capital, etc. Everyone who remains in the pool will get an even larger bonus moving forward. And then once the 12-month passes, then it's just considered a standard FLP stake and you'll get the usual revenue share and esFDX rewards. So if all of that sounds good, how do you participate? Very straightforward. On February the 11th, once the FLP Surge opens, you'll just need to go to flex.trade/launch and you'll be able to deposit into that FLP Surge. And I will make some videos showing you the exact process of what that looks like. And so I'll leave you by saying thank you for watching the video. As always, if you've got any questions, please feel free to reach out on our socials. Telegram is probably the best place to get hold of us at the moment, along with X. And this does mark the beginning of the journey for Flex Perpetuals. We are going to be revolutionizing decentralized trading. So join the community, stay updated, and be part of the movement. Speak to you soon.